Hey, 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 hey! Live again for Hormone Diaries. I've been a bit, not inconsistent, but I haven't been doing it every day. I suppose that is the definition of inconsistent. But I did say that I wasn't going to come on every single day and only show up when I felt really called to do so and share information that is of use to you. So we are 20 days into this little mini series that I started at the beginning of the month, all around the menstrual cycle, right? And how hormones affect everything we do, not just as women, but as human beings in general, because hormones are essentially the messengers for the brain to communicate with the rest of the body about what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and why to do it. Okay, so there's, I suppose there's like, there's a narrative that really hormones only affect women, and that's not true at all. The human body relies on hormones for every function. And specifically, I wanted to do this to show the differences in our hormone levels as we age and as we enter perimenopause, menopause. When I say perimenopause or menopause, it basically means the same thing, because menopause is actually, truly speaking, the first day when you haven't had any period for 12 months. Okay, so that is your official menopause point. Just pause once. Yella, take your bracelets off so they're not banging on the thing. Thank you. Yes, so when I refer to perimenopause or menopause, I'm talking about the phase of time that leads up to that point that marks the day when you've had 12 months without cycles. So I wanted to bring you this because I'm in that phase, and I also primarily work with young people who are just starting their menstrual journeys, and at both ends of the scale there seems to be still a lack of education, formal education at least, on the female menstrual cycle, which I think is just ridiculous, unacceptable in this day and age, but also shines a light on the fact that we still need to learn about how our bodies work in order to really feel connected with ourselves. And it is my belief that once we are able to do that and Yella, out of the frame. No, because you do it on purpose every time. No. Working from home is just a delight. Yella, out of the frame.
I'm not in the frame.
Yes, you are.
And that is where I was, and I'm doing what I want to do.
Right. Okay. So I wanted to shine a light really on the fact that there's still a massive gap in that information, that even though it's available online, you know, we're a technological age now and there's information everywhere and often information overload, that I wanted to make a point of the fact that it doesn't matter what age or stage you're at, most of us don't have the information that we need at any particular stage or phase, and that's shocking. And for a lot of people it can be really debilitating to not understand what on earth is going on in your body, and for professionals to routinely tell you that your symptoms are normal, that everything is okay, that it's just a phase, that you're just being a silly girl, or, you know, you're just being a hormonal woman. We're constantly passed off with this negativity, and it needs to stop. I also want to press the point that there are plenty of households where there will be teenage girls and women of my age and younger who are at different stages and phases of their menstrual journeys, but probably experiencing very similar hormonal changes in terms of their symptoms and clashing. right? Neither one knowing what is truly going on for themselves, neither one knowing what's truly going on for each other. Maybe those cycles in both of those people are not in sync, or if they are, neither party knows about it. And it's really just to give you some awareness that this is something that you guys need to talk about. You need to talk about it to each other. You need to talk about it to your friends. You need to talk about it to your family, your colleagues, and let's not be ashamed about it, because information is power, awareness is power, and it can be really, really helpful in supporting each other too. So today is day 20 of the Hormone Diaries, and I'm on day 3 personally in my cycle, which is the menstrual phase. That is the up to 7 days where you bleed in your cycle. So I'm day 3. I went away. I've been away camping pretty much most of the week last week, and so leading up to going away, I was pre-menstrual, showing all the signs, classic signs of fatigue, mood swings. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. Mood swings, but because I'm perimenopausal, they seem to have been amplified. Plus, we've just had a full moon, and energetically speaking, I always feel very different near a new moon and a full moon. And so because of that, I was able to kind of really look after myself as best I could. And so within that time, I've managed, my hormones have changed, and I'm now in the menstrual phase. So what that normally looks like, for someone who's maybe just starting their menstrual journey, or who has normal regular periods with no intense pain or anything like that, what happens is in your menstrual phase is that your estrogen levels, they rise slightly and your progesterone dips. It can leave you feeling a bit low on energy, but gives you like a reflective mindset. Okay, so this is in terms of like where your head's at. This is a really good time for in terms of practical things, in terms of like attacking any analytical stuff, you know, like looking through data, researching, setting goals, starting solo projects, something where you're having to sort of plan a bit. It's a good time for that. Physical symptoms are usually, hopefully, day 1, you'll probably feel cramps in your pelvis, because that is the womb contracting like that. And then once I physically start to bleed, that pressure in my womb space releases, and I actually feel a lot better for it on day 1. Day 2 can often be a bit of a strange one for me, excuse me, and then towards the end of the 7 days, I'm also starting to feel very much like I did at the beginning, like before I came on, which is like super tired, a bit moody, really bloated. It feels like that particular 2-week cycle seems to never end. So the symptoms that you'll probably find is maybe discomfort from the bleed. My period this time round has been really heavy, but not painful, or which is good, right? Because I know a lot of women have really heavy and painful periods, and let me tell you, pain is not normal. So if you're having painful periods, then you need to go and see your GP or someone else professional that you trust, that can help you out, because that's not normal, and that will indicate that something else may be going on. So I haven't had any pain, and I was caught out actually because my super tampon hadn't really lasted very long, and I leaked right through my shorts. So I shared a story about it, because we need to start normalizing these things. These things happen, all right, and we are often left feeling really ashamed and embarrassed, and oftentimes unprepared for these things, right? So luckily I had just set off on a road trip with a friend, so I had a bag full of clean clothes, so I was okay on that score. But years ago that would have absolutely floored me. I'd have been so embarrassed. I wouldn't have known what to do. You know, I was in the car when I realised, and we're on B road, so nowhere really to stop. No, certainly no toilets or services close by. And I just had to deal with it the best way that I could. So my periods have been particularly heavy, and of course that will make me feel extra tired, really thirsty, and needing to go to the toilet all the time, like really needing a wee all the time. So they're like normal, regular symptoms, okay? I just posted today a did you know reel about PMDD, which is premenstrual dysphoric disorder, which essentially is a really severe version of premenstrual syndrome. So the normal premenstrual symptoms that we get, that I'm talking about before you have your period, for someone that suffers PMDD, it can be completely debilitating, to the point where, you know, it can create suicidal thoughts, really high anxiety, depression. You know, the pain is so bad that you might find yourself unable to go to work, function properly, and it's not to be sniffed at. It really is a condition, and it was only today that I discovered that it was in 1987, way back in time for most of us, that it was actually classified as a mental disorder, so like a mental health issue. So this is what I'm talking about. Like, this information is available, but why don't we know about it? I've never known that my whole life, that PMDD is classed as a mental health issue, and that there's a particular list that doctors have when they're kind of trying to diagnose certain conditions. They will have a checklist for certain symptoms that would need to be met in order to diagnose that particular issue, and PMDD was given that status in 1987. Women are still being told, you're just being silly, it's nothing to worry about, these symptoms are normal. Oh wow, slime, a slime skipping rope, lovely. So that's how it's played out for me. And in terms of like the productivity that I kind of started with, I found that over the last few days, even though I've been quite tired, I've actually felt really productive, and almost in that space that I find myself in right before I'm about to come on, or like sort of just before. I want to say it usually occurs about 5 days before I'm due on. It's almost like a nesting phase that you have when you're pregnant, where you start clearing away spaces, decluttering, tidying things out. So I've had that kind of phase where I've been trying to sort things out. Sort things out, and you know, clear things away, clean up my desk, all of that stuff, and also, you know, like sort out my emails and stuff. So now's a good time for that. In terms of obviously my perimenopause, my period now could last more than 7 days. It could finish today. You know, there's literally, I mean, that's for most women, you know, everyone varies dependent on your own unique body. But sometimes my period will be, this is where you need to keep an eye on the colour of your period too, because oftentimes you'll have spotting, which looks like the start of a period, but it actually isn't. And I often get that now, where I'll get like red spotting that looks like the start of a period, and I'll go, oh, okay, let's go, and then I'll have nothing for like 2 or 3 days, maybe 4 days, and then bam, I'll get hit with my full period, which often catches me off guard because I'm not, even though I know I'm spotting, I'm not expecting it. And sometimes that spotting can be like a brown colour too. That information is for another time, because that's like a whole other set of posts about what the colour of your blood will indicate to you in terms of your hormones and anything else you might be worried about or need to be concerned about. But yeah, so again, I'll just harp on the fact that it's really important to track your cycle, because if you don't track your cycle, you'll always be at the mercy of what your body is doing, and you'll never really know what to expect. And more importantly, when things start to feel wrong, or, you know, like something's not quite right here, if you have been tracking your cycle, when you then go to your doctor and they're asking you the questions like, when was the last time you had a period? What was your period like? How often are you getting these symptoms? What else is going on around? What else was going on around you in your life that might be contributing to this? So, tracking your cycle is like key to that. Hi, Vet. Hi, Esme. Oh, lovely. I've got my little sidekick here, so I feel like a magician. I've got like my trusty sidekick. So that really is all I have to say about your menstrual cycle, like your period phase of the menstrual cycle. So menstruation, the first 1 to 7 days, is usually about 5 days that you're on. But get yourself knowing about your cycle, right? It's literally the best gift that you can give to yourself. I've learned about all of this really late in life, and you know, it wasn't even until I got pregnant that I was like, I started to get this information, because you go to antenatal classes and you get all of these leaflets tell you about how the body works during pregnancy and what happens when you give birth, right? And it sort of gives you a little bit more information about what the hormones are doing during the time that you're growing this child, but still nowhere near the amount that you need to know. And it wasn't until that point that I was like, why am I only learning about this now? Like, I'm 30 odd, I should know this stuff, and I didn't. You you kind of pick up what you feel like you need to know, and that's about it. And then I'm now 10 years later finding myself in perimenopause, and I'm doing the same thing. Like, what the hell is going on? Why did I not know this stuff? Why are women not routinely given this information formally about their changing bodies? It's a massive part of our life. We have a period every single month. From the time that you start your periods to the time that you start perimenopause. It's a good 30 years that you are on your period, and yet we know nothing. We know that we bleed and that we get grumpy and that we might have a bloated stomach, and we'll probably hate ourselves for most of the month, every month. But that is it, and that is not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? Hi, Brooke. Thanks for joining. It's really important, and also, this is just like another side quest, because Brooke's just joined, and Esme, actually, both quite sporty, in fact, very sporty, that periods in sport are often hidden away. And I know that Brooke plays football and has been like the only girl in a male team for a long time, right? So whether Brooke is having a menstrual cycle yet or not, the bottom line is that is something that in her world would be something that would be could be quite an embarrassing situation if she's got no one supporting her in doing that. Like, what do you do when you've got training and you've got really bad period cramps, or you suffer with PMDD? You know what I mean? Like, you're expected to turn up to training with no excuses. What about if you've got a really big match and you knew that you were due to start your period, but you weren't sure? Yes, you might prepare by putting in a sanitary towel or a tampon or whatever, but it's still not going to help if you have an extra heavy period whilst you're on the pitch and suddenly you're leaking through your white shorts. Do you know what I mean? And then you're going to be ridiculed. So we need to start really making girls feel comfortable and unashamed about having a period, regardless of their situation, and specifically in sport, where a lot of the time it is seen by, you know, the coaches and stuff a lot. This is what I hear, is that it's a weakness, that, you know, you're not committed enough if you're not turning up and you're giving 100%. Hormonally speaking, you are unable to give 100, you know, your best performance at certain times of your menstrual cycle. That is scientific fact. Okay, you could be the most elite athlete, right? But if you're having an excruciating period, or, you know, your body just feels super heavy, doesn't matter how well trained you are, how good your mindset is, your body is gonna move differently. It just is, right? And then if you've got a really shitty coach, you're gonna be belittled and made to feel ashamed of your performance, and that's just not right. So get to know your bodies, get to make friends with them, and the really incredible processes that happen every single month. You know, they're basically creating your hormones, and all of this physiology is basically preparing your body for creating a human being every single month, right? So we can't just pass that by. That is a superpower, and the sooner we realise that and make friends with it and use it to our advantage. You know, I will often talk about how, by knowing where you are in your menstrual cycle and knowing how the hormones will change at certain times in your cycle, you can actually plan to do certain activities where you will be at your best, where because of that phase in your cycle, you will actually elevate certain aspects of yourself. Like, for example, on the run up to ovulation, you will become more communicative, more sociable, more zesty, you know. So when you've got in-person events, social events, speaking events, that is a time to do it, because your hormones are supporting that particular element of productivity, right? Likewise, when you are about to come on and you're feeling like you just want to hibernate and your body needs to rest, we need to listen to that. It's not because you're going to be unproductive or lazy. It's your body saying, right, your body is just about to go through a really significant transformation. You need to rest. You need to eat more carbs. You need to eat more good fats. You need to sleep. You need to disconnect from things that make you feel sad or anxious, because all the energy that you have right now is going to be used up in a minute to start prepping your womb for a potential pregnancy. So buckle up, sister, get the rest. Yeah. And we often overlook that, ignore it, because we're in this society where we just have to keep going. And actually, if we rest, we're made to feel bad, and we make ourselves feel bad for it. So it's my invitation to you to rest when you need to rest, really listen in. And you're not really going to intentionally do that if you're not listening to your body, if you're not connecting with it, if you're not tracking your cycle. And even if you're not having periods right now, but you know you're going to soon in the future, track your moods, track the way that your body feels. Like, do you get times when you feel extra bloated for no reason? Do you hold water? I'm really water attentive sometimes, and if it's hot outside, it just feels like I balloon, right? And that really affects my mental health, because I've always had self-esteem issues, body weight and body image issues my whole life. So the minute I feel like swollen, I suddenly feel like I've put on 6 stone, and you just wouldn't even want to be in my mind when that's going on, you know. So make friends of it all, ladies. That's what I'm saying. Make friends with it. I often tell you where we are with the moon phase. So Sunday was a full moon, so we're 2 days past that now, but the energy is still there, and this is a really good time for putting your ambitious goals into practice. Like, instead of just thinking about it, this is the second Capricorn full moon, which means, like, if you didn't listen the last time the Capricorn full moon happened, you need to listen now. Make those steps, tangible steps. Don't just think about it. Think about the goal and then reverse engineer it and work out what steps you need to take to get to that goal. Oh, wow, you just made a bead appear from a ball of slime. That's clever. Slime, don't you just love it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's where we are with the moon phase. So, again, I throw that in for anybody that is interested in the moon cycles. We should all be interested in the cycles of the moon, because for centuries we have used that to navigate life, to navigate crops, to navigate boats on the sea, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we just forget that happened, and we go by the clock and the calendar that was kind of made up by man. So try and tune in with nature too. It's important. We are nature. We're all connected. The best way to support yourself when you're having your period is, again, listen to your body. If you're having a particularly heavy period and it's causing you discomfort, obviously, nice hot water bottle, gentle exercise. You can do some yoga, go for a nice walk. You can go for a nice swim. Don't feel like you can't do anything, but I wouldn't do anything too strenuous or high intensity, because you're just not going to have the energy there to do that. If it's painful, obviously seek professional help. Support yourself with nutritional food. Make sure that you are getting a balanced diet. Try and avoid caffeine. Try and avoid smoking. Any stimulants at all that are going to interfere with the hormonal balance, just steer away from those. Get good rest. Have a nice bath or a refreshing shower. And you know that your period only lasts, less than a week. So get gearing up for the next phase, which, if you've been sorting out your desk, sorting out your emails, you're now going to be moving into the next phase. It's all about focused work, creative work, learning, writing, an assignment or whatever. So in terms of like a real world practical example, if you've got an exam, for example, coming up in the next week or so, which is all about like free writing, for example, you might want to plan out how you would write that kind of answer out, your start, your middle, your end. Plan and focus. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks ever so much for joining me for today's Hormone Diaries. I am hoping that these are useful. Please drop in the comments anything that you found useful. If you've got any questions, drop those in too. If you've not already seen my post, it's actually a reel about PMDD, go check it out. It's on my feed. And if you would really like something tangible to help you work through all of this stuff, I actually created a period journal. It's an information journal, so it's not just like a journal with blank pages where you just write about your feelings. It actually gives you information about period products, about your what to expect, and it's a lovely printed journal that you can get on Amazon. If you're interested in getting one of those or getting someone to buy you one for a birthday or Christmas present, drop me, what emoji can we have today? Drop me the dancing girl emoji and I will send you the link for that. And you can go get yourself one on Amazon. Thank you again for watching, and I will be back real soon. Lots of love. Bye.